We started looking at the idea of author intention recently, and that links in with what is their intent? What is the purpose behind their text? And to understand that, you need to understand the cultural assumptions that go into it. And that is basically the culture and the assumptions about that culture in which the author lives. So, your cultural assumption, it's an idea um, based on the tradition, the laws, and the people of that particular place. So in this, it's about context, it's about setting. It's where your culture is a system of beliefs, customs, values, attitudes of a particular people. The assumptions then are those that are made based on that. So when we think about America, we have particular assumptions. When people think about Australia, they have a lot of cultural assumptions because it's unique to us. So we need to unpack what are the cultural assumptions that are existing in the text in which the author is living. So we need to ask ourselves a series of questions. The first one is, what is the author's intent? What were they trying to convey? And you've already unpacked that with the representation. What are they trying to convey to us about war? And therefore, in order to get there, what values, attitudes, or clues to the author's culture are shown in that? From there, we then ask, well, what does that then assume about the society the author lives in? What is this telling us about their context? And finally, from that, for your assignment, you need to make a judgment based on the intent, the values, attitudes, the culture that's shown, and the cultural assumptions, which is more effective, which text is more effective in conveying the author's intent to the specific audience, which offers the representation in a way that is more relatable for us. So to do that, I'm going to compare it against two texts. We've looked at Tennyson's The Charge of the Light Brigade in class. I've also used it for examples previously. The other one is War. It's a short story, and it offers a very similar representation. First off, we've got these 4 questions, and these relate to that table you're filling in. So we go through author's intent. It's to the war is glorious way. The values that shows is the value of patriotism. A value is something we hold as important. It shows an attitude. Attitude is an action of duty to one's country. And then the culture. Well, the culture is that it's a glorious way that we will show our love for a country through that. That then shows us the context in which the author lives is that all will want to show patriotism and gain the glory of giving life for one's country. Now, is it effective? It suits the time it was written, but it doesn't really match today's society because of the cliche, because of the perspective that we all see, that to go to war is to be glorified forever. Text 2, War, the short story, similar representation, slightly different twist to it. The idea that war is the duty of the young, that all young should be giving their lives. It again has the value of patriotism, but it introduces the idea of family, shows an attitude of duty, and it's the culture that we should be proud to defend our country. Now, that assumes that the context is that all young will want to give their lives. They'll want to leave their families and make their families proud through their actions at war. And it also brings in this idea that families don't understand the finality of death, that they're so caught up in this glory and the heroics of war that they forget that to die is eternal. Is it effective? It shows a very unique perspective. We don't often get the chance to sit and hear parental perspectives on that. It's usually always focused on the soldier, but it's also being privy to seeing families come to that realization that to give your life for your country is to give your life, and it's final. So that's how, when we put those together, that's how we're unpacking. And when you've got it sitting here like this, you can easily see the similarities, you can see the differences, and you can start to draw out which could possibly be more effective. Next, we'll move on to putting together the paragraph.